Hey there. It's time to get out of pocket. I'm your host, Michael Davis. And yes, the White Six tried keeping me out of the studio, but your boy is here. He's in the Marvel hoodie he was wearing earlier today for the Drop the Mic Wrestling podcast. And guys, this is the show that you need to watch because we have Johnny Cleveland back later tonight. And we have the commish, Wayne Thomas, to talk not one, not two, but three breaking news in the NFL today. And I'm not going to lie, they're going to come in here in a few minutes and they're going to give their opinions, and we're going to deep dive into the three biggest news. Usually, I kick off Tuesdays on Outta Pocket with my top core rankings. Don't you worry, I'll cover that at the very end of today's episode. But if you saw the video package, or if you have been living above a rock, you understand that the big breaking news was we had not one, but two trades in the NFL today. The New York Jets traded for Davante Adams. Well, and matter of fact, we talked about this yesterday on Outta Pocket, that the Raiders were being a little stubborn. They're like, we might not even trade Davante Adams. We might keep him here. The 49ers were saying the same thing about Brandon Ayuk and actually gave Ayuk an extension. But this wasn't about the money for Davante Adams. This was about being in Vegas, and he didn't want to be in Vegas. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and Davante Adams wanted absolutely no part of that. And now this gives Davante Adams an opportunity to reunite with former teammate Aaron Rodgers. Davante Adams literally swindled everybody. I'm going to have Wayne in here a little later on. He's a Baltimore Ravens fan. Last week, we were talking about the picture that Davante Adams tweeted of Edgar Allan Poe. And if you guys understand how significant that is, it literally hinted towards him going to the Ravens. What's interesting about this is what the Raiders received for Davante Adams, a player of his caliber, but didn't want to be there. And the Raiders just accept a 2025 conditional third-round draft pick. That was a shocker. I wouldn't have went for the conditional. I would have said it's that or no cigar. That is exactly what I did. And this is exactly what going all in feels like for the New York Jets. It might be too little, too late. I'm going to be talking about that a little soon with Wayne and John when they come in the show. But the Jets dropped to 2-4 last night after a Monday Night Football loss. You're welcome, Aaron, from the Gridiron Address. You're welcome, Jason from Sideline Savants. I was the guy who took the bullet for the team 2 Monday Night Football games in a row, and I lost because the Jets lost. They've dropped 3 straight. But I genuinely, I don't think that the New York Jets receiving core is the problem. They have Garrett Wilson. They have Alan Lazard, Aaron Rodgers' buddy. They have Breece Hall as a running back. They have Braylon Allen, who is coming on a little bit. It's that offensive line. Can you predict Aaron Rodgers for him to throw the ball? That defense, can they all gel together? Because Hassan Reddick still hasn't reported to the team. I'm honestly surprised they didn't try just a straight up Hassan Reddick for Davante Adams trade. I would have seen that coming, but the Jets trade for Davante Adams. That's one of our big news. Here in a few minutes, we'll welcome in Wayne and John to talk about this in more depth, in more detail. Okay. All right. I'm seeing some comments come in. This is why we do these live streams. On Boom Broadcasting's YouTube channel, so you guys can interact with us. He said, hey, bro, I just got offered Devontae Smith for Davante Adams. Do I pull the trigger? He also is asking, Do I deal Dalton Schultz, Devin and Chain, and Sam Darnold for Joe Burrow and Alex Madison? He also he's in the deal making mood, guys. That's cap for life, for real, no cap. And he's asking or Zay Flowers for my Devin and Chain. This is interesting. These are interesting. I might bring in Wayne here in a couple minutes to talk a little of those fantasy questions because he actually hosts a fantasy football podcast. And I'm a little upset because he's undefeated right now in Outta Pocket's redraft league. It feels like we just gifted him all the prize money. Rick 8-Bit also join us right now. No O-line, no Super Bowl. Sorry, Jets. Rick 8-Bit pretty straightforward with that. He's a Ravens fan, just like the commish. Wayne Thomas, who will be in here just in a few moments. I agree. Like, the game is won and lost in the trenches, and you just can't do much better. You just need an offensive line. So not only was Davante Adams traded to the New York Jets for a conditional third-round draft pick. We'll talk about it in more detail here in a few moments. But we also had another trade. Amari Cooper has been traded yet again in his career, and he is being sent to the Buffalo Bills. Now, you notice that tagline, the Browns get more in return for Cooper than they gave up in the first place to trade for him with the Dallas Cowboys. Amari Cooper, he's made his way around. He originally started as the Raiders, and then the Cowboys gave up a first-round pick to give Amari Cooper. And then when they were done with Amari Cooper, it looked like Michael Gallup was resurging. It looked like CeeDee Lamb was the guy now. They took a chance, and they traded Amari Cooper to the Cleveland Browns, not for much capital in return, which was the big gripe with Cowboys fans. If you want to hear my gripe with Cowboys, in particular Jerry Jones, I talked about it for a good 20 minutes yesterday at the start of Outta Pocket, titled Jerry Jones Was Outta Pocket. That's available on Boom Broadcasting if you want to watch that on demand after this live stream. And I was upset. But the Bills make a really interesting move. They traded Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans, breaking up that Diggs-Allen combo. And then hours after Davante Adams is traded, the Bills go ahead and grab Amari Cooper from the Cleveland Browns. Rick 8-Bit believes the Bills won that trade. I do want to hear Wayne and John's opinions when they come on here in just a few moments. But I don't know. Obviously, you needed help. What was kind of crazy though is it was, I think, for a third-round pick and a seventh-round pick, and the Bills got Amari Cooper and a sixth-round pick. So technically, the Buffalo Bills upgraded their seventh to a sixth, and they got Amari Cooper for a third-round pick. I think that is really good. Obviously, Amari is 30 years old. It's honestly to help them in their offense because I think even starting at 4-2, they realize, honestly, they need help. Josh Allen, more importantly, needs help. If this is the year, and we'll talk about what this AFC picture looks like with the Jets acquiring Davante Adams, the Buffalo Bills acquiring Stephon Diggs. We'll talk about the Baltimore Ravens now that they have Derrick Henry with Lamar Jackson. Houston, the additions they made, they're doing good. And, of course, the Chiefs are undefeated. Who's surprised? Who's surprised that the Chiefs are 5-0 right now after 6 weeks? They were on a bye this previous week. Booking Like a Mark also joined us. It's interesting to see those trades after last night's game. Are the Bills and Jets reacting to barely scoring in the second half? I don't know. That's a really good point. If the Bills and Jets are react, because that was a very high scoring offensive game that first half, and then the second half it filtered out. You saw some defense. Obviously, the Bills missing James Cook as well probably hindered that. The Jets they're the Jets, and I thought they were going to get it rolling. But yep, two big trades. Bills trade for Amari Cooper, and Davante Adams traded to the New York Jets. And right now, I get to welcome in my two guests because we're going deep dive into these two big trades, in addition to what the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing at quarterback this upcoming week. First and foremost, we got the guy from Sideline Savants. He drops his episode tomorrow at noon. I'm bringing in the commish, Wayne Thomas. Wayne, appreciate having you on, my friend.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. I hate that your team has Derrick Henry. But as much as I hate it, I know a guy who really hates it. He's a Cleveland Browns guy. I call him the real Johnny Cleveland. He's from Fanatical Elves Network. They do great stuff with Fans First Sports Network. I am happy to welcome in a guy who's also mourning with me, not only about losing Derrick Henry, but trading away Amari Cooper. He knows how I feel now. We got John in. John, I appreciate you coming on, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We speaking of Sideline Savants, Wayne's co-host Jason watching in on the show saying, "Hey, commish." And this is funny. I want to talk about this. So Davante Adams showed up at the Jets 15 minutes after the trade went public, which is wild to think. He didn't have like a 15-minute private jet flight from Vegas to New York. There had to have been some thought when we were talking about Davante yesterday that this trade was happening. John, what was your initial reaction to this going down today?
Which one?
Hey, literally. It's been madness.
I'm going to be very honest with you. I didn't know about that until after the Coop deal. So that's how much I was off social media. But what do I think of it? Great for the Jets. They're always going to be the Jets. They're the Jets. They're going to suck. They're going to continue to flounder, and I could care less. So there you go.
He said I could care less. We'll talk about another sucky team, I'm sure. We
got one here.
Wayne, your team's doing better than both of ours right now. Dude, were you caught off guard by this?
I wasn't. I mean, I know we talked about it, and Davante's been messing with the Ravens fans with his Edgar Allan Poe pictures and quotes and what. But it seems like a no-brainer. Aaron Rodgers gets his way, other than winning another Super Bowl. So this is just what happens with Aaron Rodgers calling the shots over in New York. He gets his guy. He brings another one, and the New York Packers are gonna have some fun with Davante there now.
Dude, it's honestly changes the complexion of the offense. I'm sure you're going to touch on that tomorrow with Sideline Savants and the fantasy football impact of all the New York Jets weapons. But it feels
I have him on my fantasy league team. I just want everybody to know that. So
you have Davante.
Yeah, so I'm happy that he's back.
He's happy that Davante Adams is back.
Well, just for fantasy league points. That's all. That's it.
Okay. For fantasy league points. I need my fantasy league points too. John, I feel like at 2-4 though, it feels like it's a little too late looking at what the Jets needed to do.
Absolutely.
He's like, absolutely.
Well, they're the Jets. Come on, man. They're the Jets. Now, I don't know. I'm like, they're always going to be, and I don't know what, I mean, 2-4, you're right. I mean, they're not out of it. And that division is what, Buffalo's now 4-2, right?
Mm-hmm. Miami's 2-3, Pats 1-5.
So yeah, I mean, it's anybody's ball game, and you've got a healthy Aaron Rodgers, who's, like you're saying, Wayne, who's basically running the show now. I mean, it's his team. This seems like it reminiscent of LeBron with the old Cavs teams. He basically gets what he wants. Different sport, obviously, but I mean, they're right in it. I think did you already ask the question about, do you think that the Buffalo, or was that you were going to ask that later? Like, was this a reaction what Buffalo did?
I feel like the Jets trade happened about an hour or two before the Amari Cooper trade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And was Buffalo reacting to that? I don't know. I mean, here in Cleveland, we're just pissed to high heaven for everything under the sun right now. It's going to be one hell of a show. Let me tell you, Sunday in Cleveland is going to be dramatic. I'm just telling you right now, like it's going to be, that stadium is going to be on fire. I wouldn't, Bottlegate back in the day, there could be another Bottlegate or, the fans here are just like fed up. Like I've not experienced this in a long, long time. So just preparing everybody.
Let it burn.
It's gonna burn, Wayne. It's gonna burn. And I'm a diehard, will ride with this team, but what they are doing right now is so bad. So bad.
Well, it's pretty funny you mentioned that because I think Cleveland's been a dumpster fire for literally as long as I've been alive. Since the Cleveland Browns became Wayne's Baltimore Ravens, and they were able to take the team to a couple Super Bowls.
Wayne, I got a couple Browns fans now who are telling me this week that they're moving over to the Ratbirds, and I'm like, what is like? I'm sorry, that's just like sacrilegious to me. I can't do it. But we got other Browns fans who are. So there you go, Wayne. You're going to pick up some extra fans.
We don't want you.
Okay, I'll make sure to get that message to them.
Wayne said no bandwagon fans. Wayne's like, hey, you guys are not welcome. Derrick Henry on Baltimore just really upsets me still, Wayne. I ranted about that for 20 minutes yesterday, and I'm still just like upset. Like you're the one thriving right now in fantasy football, in real life. Like this is the year of Wayne. Drink it in, man.
But yeah, we were talking about the Jets in this trade, and I agree with some of the comments ahead of when I came on it. If they don't have an offensive line, it's not going to really matter anyways, because you got to give Aaron Rodgers space and time and room to get that ball to him. So I think he's the clear guy to look out for in fantasy now. Obviously, Aaron's going to want to bring his guy some targets, just like Lazard has been doing well. But it's one of those trades at 2 and 4. Is it too late? Offensive line issues. It's just it's strange. It's an Aaron Rodgers get my buddy move.
100%. John, I'm glad you brought up it feels like LeBron in the NFL, because this is exactly what it feels like, and I don't think that's a recipe for success.
Yeah, no, it's not, and I don't know. Aaron Rodgers has just really pissed me off over the last few years. I don't know what it is. Just his arrogance off the field is just really driving fans like myself batty. I don't know about you guys, but I can't. I mean, it's not like cheering for Tom Brady. I mean, I don't even like Tom Brady, but I'd cheer for Tom Brady a little bit more. He's just so, I don't know. He just says some of the damnedest, stupidest crap on the face of the planet. And I don't know why we hold such respect for this guy. I mean, he was doing State Farm commercials, which at a time were pretty good, but now he's not doing that as much. And I'm just more annoyed with the guy. So 2 and 4. I mean, and Davante Adams isn't exactly your cream of your crop, a great professional. I mean, maybe he's professional, but I've seen and heard enough on the sidelines, and I don't know that these guys talk a lot, but I don't know. It'll be a match made in heaven for those two.
For real. Chris saying, Chris, the host of Dugout Debrief that airs at noon on Thursday, saying Garrett Wilson owners punch in the air right now. Wayne, I have Garrett Wilson in one of my leagues. Is there any way I can get rid of him? Do I need to get rid of him? Does this honestly, we got to ask this question. Does Davante's trade open up opportunities for a Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, Breece Hall?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly can. I wouldn't panic yet. Let's see how it rolls with the first game or so, and see how it progresses. I mean, with Davante Adams' attitude from the start, if things, if they start seeing those offensive line problems and Davante's not getting the ball, I mean, it's just not gonna. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of faith that it's gonna be a great pairing. I actually like the Cooper and Bills trade more than I like Adams.
Yep. And now there's a professional, Amari Cooper. Now, I know he started in Dallas, and I'm really annoyed today. In the last few minutes, I was trying to tell Michael a little bit, but the fans are overwhelmingly they're sad to see Coop leave because most fans have a lot of respect. But there's these knuckleheads out there in our media here in Cleveland who are trying to say, oh, he was dropping the ball way too much. He's, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm sorry. I have no respect for these guys who complain about Cooper dropping passes, and then trying to speculate that he's doing it on purpose. Maybe he was, but Cooper was he has been the best wide receiver in Cleveland since 1999. And to be honest, I was going back and looking at some stats, Joe Flacco and Amari Cooper had probably the best combination of all time through 5 or 6 games last season. And you could see right there and then, I mean, it is pathetic that the Browns have now, departed with, now they got a 3rd round pick, which is good value, in a business world of the NFL, but they have, they saw it right before their eyes. Joe Flacco and Amari Cooper had a unique and special combination last year, and they got rid of, we all know this, Joe, because of Watson's, ego and not wanting to hurt his feelings. And now what's Joe Flacco doing? He's having a hell of a season not a hell of a season, but he's having a good season in Indy. So
it's a no-brainer for the Bills because now the Bills have a wide receiver 1, just like they had with Diggs, without the attitude, without the diva personality. And Amari Cooper is just like Terry McLaurin, just like those other wide receivers that are self go out there and just do what they do and play ball. And I have a lot of respect for Cooper. I think he's going to do great things with Josh Allen.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. It's the one T-shirt I have that I wear with the Browns is my Cooper shirt and then Chubb, and they get rid of Coop. I'm like, I used to wear a Johnny Manziel T-shirt for that. I mean, that was the last time I wore a T-shirt, and then I thought, okay, a couple years ago when they got Cooper, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wear Coop's T-shirt, but and Chubb. But now that they got rid of Cooper, I'm like, well, who the hell am I gonna wear a T-shirt for? What player on the Browns? Myles Garrett's gonna be walking out. I mean, I feel bad for people like Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, and Joel Bitonio on the offensive line for the Browns, who have been dedicated veterans who've been with this Browns organization through thick and thin. And now, I mean, this is a dumpster fire, like you said, Michael.
Through thin and thin, you mean, right?
Yeah.
There ain't no thick in it.
No.
And it's absolutely wild. And Rick 8-Big asking, who do you gents see getting traded from Cleveland and Vegas?
Traded still?
Do you think any of your Browns are, potentially out the door?
I think Elijah Moore, another wide receiver that's been out there, whose dad's been, I don't know if that's true or not, but he's been, we have a crappy quarterback, probably the worst quarterback in the league. And people that are still trying to defend him here in Cleveland are ridiculous in their takes on this. But people want to say, oh, it's the offensive line. There have been injuries with Cleveland, but it's Watson's fault. So yeah, the other players, I would say Elijah Moore could be another wide receiver. Lord help us, Nick Chubb is out there, and he's a free agent technically, and people are saying, well, that would kill me. I think I would have to stop being a Cleveland Browns fan if they chose to trade him now. If they get rid of him after this season, so be it. But if they decided they want to do that now, on the heels of them announcing that they're going to build this new stadium in Brook Park, this dome stadium in 2029, which is supposed to be coming out here in the next couple of weeks. I mean, the PR right now here in Cleveland is just nuts. I mean, anyway, sorry, I digress.
Well, Johnny Cleveland said he might take his talents somewhere else, but
not to the Ratbirds. To the Ratbirds.
Yeah, Wayne already said the bandwagon is closed now.
Yeah, you're closed. Okay, Wayne.
Wayne, do you think anybody could leave Vegas now with Davante Adams out the door too?
No, I don't think so. I think they're going to hold tight to who they have and go for there. I mean, no, not really. I mean, they don't. No. I don't see anybody else leaving. I mean, I can see. No, I don't see anybody else leaving.
And to be fair, like they've lost Josh Jacobs to free agency to the Green Bay Packers. They're thriving right now. The Packers might even be making my top core rankings this week.
Darius Smith name came up today that there's people are saying that he could potentially be out there, a defensive end for the Browns, not Miles, but his counterpart is Darius Smith.
Oh, wow.
Could be out there as a potential. Yeah.
He was Raven, wasn't he?
At one point, was he with you guys?
Yeah, Viking and a Raven, I believe.
It's too bad he was with the Ratbirds, but that's okay.
Well, Wayne's closed the bandwagon. If anybody wants to jump on it, or jump off the Cleveland bandwagon or the Raiders bandwagon, the Baltimore bandwagon is closed. How many times can I say bandwagon within 30 seconds on Outta Pocket with Michael Davis on Boom Broadcasting? Now that is a bandwagon you do want to jump on. If you guys are finding us for the first time, if you want to hit us with a subscription, help support content creators like myself and Wayne. John's doing really great stuff over at Fanatical Elves and Fans First Sports Network as well. And John, you started to touch on this a little bit, but this is a wild day. When it comes to the Davante Adams trade to the Jets, and then a few minutes later, Amari Cooper traded to the Bills. It feels like this Bills deal was more of a reaction to what the Jets did with Davante Adams.
Well, you have to think back too. There's, Amari Cooper was kind of thrown under the bus or by the Browns. They started throwing out this idea of him being traded back in the summer. He held out. Too bad, Rick. Sorry that you're a Ravens fan since 90s. Wait, till 96. Gosh, dang it. Wait, no, yeah, funny guy. No, Mari's been kind of under the microscope for a long while now. And, I don't know what, I think there's something awry and basically he hasn't been himself. And yes, he's dropped a lot of passes, but, this has been kind of coming to be where it's at today. Not a complete shock, but I think considering that all we've been talking about here in Cleveland is benching Deshaun Watson and what the hell is wrong with Kevin Stefanski people say, oh, he's coach of the year 2 years in like he's a shell of him. Like the coach, we can't figure out if he's being told that he can't bench Deshaun or if that's actually coming from Stefanski. I have multiple different people on the podcast and other sources that are giving me a mixed bag. So I don't know who's pulling the strings right now, but this whole organization is falling apart. And so I feel good for Amari. I mean, he is going to do, Wayne, like you said, like he's going to get to Buffalo, and I'm telling you, he's going to light it up. Who else is lighting it up for the former Cleveland Browns? Joe Flacco in Indianapolis, Baker Mayfield having the career season of his life. You just got to get out of Cleveland. And if you want to get a win, just come here to Cleveland.
And Rick 8-Bit suggesting it's not the coaches, it's the drama queen quarterback.
Absolutely. It's right. But here's the thing, that Stefanski is now in a position where he's coming out every week saying, no, we're sticking with him. He gives us our best opportunity. I'm like, are you blind? I mean, the fans are not stupid here. It's like, are you trying to get run out of town? And maybe he is, maybe Stefanski doesn't want to be part of this, anymore. I don't know what, he's in his 5th year. So.
And Jason's suggestion, Bill's hunting for a wide receiver since Diggs left. They traded away Stephon Diggs. Like, Wayne, they brought this on themselves, man.
Well, they're getting a new one. I mean, Coop's going to be, I can't wait to see what he does in Buffalo.
Yeah, I think they have a lot of faith in Josh Allen's ability to get the ball around no matter who he's bringing it to. And I think, they've shown a lot of promise early in the season. And, opportunity arose. Amari Cooper's a reliable guy. It's not going to go out there and cause problems. Why not grab him?
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a veteran. He's been around. He's not him. Like he's older now. He's not like, what he was maybe when he first came into the league, but he had 200,000 yard seasons here in Cleveland. He was by far the best wide receiver we've had here in Cleveland since Josh Gordon was here, had 1,700 yards one season and then, disappeared because of drugs and such. But outside of that, we haven't had anybody here,
Well, and you need that mentor right there too, in Bills with the wide receiving core, because you got in the rookie, you got Shakir, I think his name is. You have Dalton Kincaid, both young players that don't really have anybody, to talk to them and guide them along the season. So it makes perfect sense for the Bills. I love the trade.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys might disagree with me, but like seeing what Amari has done throughout his career, like he's been Mr. Reliable. I think it was like for the past 5 years, he's put up 1,000 yards. And the 1 year he didn't was he set a couple games for Dallas. Like,
well, he will now. He wasn't going to do it here in Cleveland if he stayed here, so he'll get that.
do you think? Because he's at 250 right now. Do you think?
Well,
he
that's
gets
6 games
yards?
in. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. I haven't looked at the stats that closely, so he is pretty far down there. Okay,
That'd probably be about Wayne. That'd be about 75 yards a game, average.
he's got 11 games left.
Yeah.
He gets another 200 game like he did last year. I mean, remember he had like 250 in a game against the Texans last season. I mean, it's crazy to think like that was 9 games ago. Somebody was showing that stat here in Cleveland. That was just 9 games ago. He was going for 250 yards when he was playing with Joe Flacco. I'm still pissed with that. The Browns are just dumb for not bringing Flacco back because they didn't want to hurt Deshaun's feelings. I mean, we're done with feelings here.
John's like, we are done with feelings. So Wayne, before we move on, speaking of feelings, I'm not done with your feelings, Wayne. I think your feelings are valid and they matter. I'm trying to say that.
I don't care about your feelings. You're a rat bird.
I tried saying as sensitive as I could.
No, I do like the Batman. I like the Batman. Is that in respect to Nick Chubb coming back?
Yeah, absolutely. No. Bateman used to refer to himself as Batman, but no.
Wayne, when it comes to the Jets, Raiders, Browns, or Bills, which of these 4 teams do you think is in the best position? Because 2 trade away star receivers, but 2 acquired them. Who do you think won today in the NFL trades?
I think the Bills absolutely won today in the trades, 100%. Like I said, Cooper is a reliable veteran wide receiver going to a team where they're looking for a guy to fill that spot that they lost with Diggs. And yeah, I know they traded Diggs away, but now they have somebody similar to Diggs who can get the job done without being a diva about it. And unlike Davante Adams going to the New York Pats, it just you got a lot of egos over there in New York, and I just like this trade much better for
Cleveland's just getting extra draft picks, and I've decided over in the last couple of weeks that I'm tired of all these draft picks because people have said here in Cleveland, oh, Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, they're such great experts at the draft, and like, what the hell has it got in us Browns fan at this point? Nothing. I could care less about another 3rd round draft pick. We've never done well with 3rd round draft picks anyhow. So
John's like, let's upgrade it to a 2nd. Let's upgrade it to a 1st.
I don't even care if we got a 1st right now. I mean, now I will say this: the only thing that the value is that we did get a 3rd round for him, and we only gave up a 5th round to you guys in Dallas a few years ago. So
okay, we didn't have to bring that up.
Okay, so technically that's a win, but see, I'm not a real fan. Okay, I'm tired of hearing the analytics that people say, oh, well, this is good. The Browns are getting more picks and stuff. No, it doesn't matter. Like at this point, it doesn't matter. We're going to do the same damn thing that we did in the past. And we may have one successful season and somehow screw it up, but okay. And of course we gave away all of those 1st round picks to begin with, because we brought in Deshaun, who's killing our team.
Honestly. And, we'll talk about another toxic quarterback here in a second. Kayfabe Keith was joining us. What up? Rick 8-Bit. Cooper can earn $1 million if he's named 1st team All-Pro and $500,000 for 2nd team All-Pro honors. Wow. Additionally, he has a $1 million incentive tied to reaching 1,251 yards. So that'd be 1,000 yards with just the Bills alone. John, that's a lot.
That would be a lot. I'm not going to say it's out of the realm of possibilities. Josh Allen can throw the ball around, but interesting.
He's also a free agent at the end of the season.
Correct, and that's the reason why we kind of here in Cleveland kind of knew that was kind of coming. With but I didn't expect it to happen today. You never know when something's gonna. Sometimes you do, but this one kind of surprised a lot of people.
And Wayne, do you think Amari Cooper could be a Bill next year, or is he walking somewhere else?
No, he could be. I mean, given what the Bills gave up for him today, which again wasn't much, but again they're replacing someone that they've had reliable for them for so many years was Devon Diggs. So why would the Bills want to shoot themselves in the foot if Cooper has a successful year with them? So he's cheap. Keep him.
And last thing before we move on this Amari Cooper trade, Jason, the co-host of Sideline Savant, says, I think I said the brown paper bags were coming out in Cleveland.
Oh, let me tell you, I have season tickets to the Browns, right?
Yeah.
And I will not be there. I'm going to actually be in Wichita, Kansas with my Browns backers group. I used to be president of their fan base there in Wichita, the Oz chapter, the Wizard of Oz, get it? But my daughter is going to the game, taking my tickets, and I'm already telling her I want video proof. I mean, it is going to be like the worst experience. I don't think Kevin Stefanski, they don't understand. They really don't get it. Like the fans that end up showing up, and that stadium will probably be half full because the season's over. But the fans that are there, yes, they are going to be wearing paper bags, and they will be so loud and obnoxious and booing constantly from the very first play. And other fan bases may say, well, you're not real good fans or whatever and loyal, but this whole situation has gotten completely out of hand this season, where fans are just so annoyed right now, like so annoyed. I've not been around this kind of annoyance. The teams that were Owens in 2016 and 2017, when the team went 1-32 or whatever, there was more fun and joy in that, even though we were always losing. This has just been depressing and just anger. I mean, people are angry. As I'm trying to tell you guys, be prepared. There's going to be more crap coming down the pike, and it's not going to be pretty.
And right, he's talking about is the Browns have 3 home games back to back to back. They got the Bengals. They got the Ravens. Wayne and John are going to be rivals that week, and they then have the LA Chargers.
The Browns haven't scored. The Browns haven't scored over 17 or 18 points all season long. First team in NFL history in the last 10 years that haven't gotten over 20 points. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Wow. Another offense that you guys both equally hate, I'm sure, are the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, this isn't breaking news, by the way. We are not announcing that they have officially made a change at quarterback, but Mr. Russell Wilson is getting first-team reps now in practice this week in preparation that the Pittsburgh Steelers, when they play Davante Adams and his new team in the New York Jets, that they would start Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. Wayne, what is up with this? Is this a good idea?
No, it's not a good idea. But I would like to believe that Tomlin's smarter than this. I don't see sitting.
Maybe Tomlin and Stefanski got together this last week or something, and
maybe
they're being, I don't know. It's crazy.
The only thing I can say about this move is it might be a simple game plan against the Jets, because the Jets have only allowed 2 rushing touchdowns all season with any players going up against them. So they might be looking at Justin Fields and saying, well, he's not going to run much against this team. Maybe we'll give it to Russell Wilson so you can fling it. That's the only thing I can think of. But either way, you don't set your quarterback who's been winning games for you. Yeah. So I don't actually see this as a reality. I think this is just, I think it's just throwing stuff out there to get a reaction. I don't believe it.
I'm reading your comment here from Podcast Smitty.
Oh man, dude, he dropped.
He got the number 1 draft pick right now, Wayne. Yeah. If we were to draft today, we'd have the number 1 draft pick. We're talking quarterbacks already here in Cleveland.
Wow,
I believe it.
That's actually kind of crazy that Cleveland.
What is Pittsburgh's record right now? Are they 4-1 or 5-2 or what? No.
Steelers are 4-2 right now. So yeah. This is why I'm really weird. And Jason's saying dual quarterback set in Pittsburgh. I
Oh.
don't even think that works, John.
No, I don't know. Is it because of the contract right now? Is that because they're paying? Well, no.
Because
Wilson's
getting all his money from Denver. Like
Denver, right?
The Steelers are paying him like $2 million.
Listen, and I'll let them. They can have Watson. Let them have all three, or bring Justin Fields here to Cleveland. At least he's a lot of Ohio State fans, but I don't know. Can you tell them that I'm frustrated?
A little bit if you're taking Justin Fields as your quarterback.
No. I don't like the move because like Wayne said, they've been winning outside of maybe what you said because they're not allowing touchdowns and such, but
Fields going to turn back the clock. P/Cordell Stewart. I could make an Aaron Hernandez joke too, but I'll
what's going on with Dak Prescott, by the way? He's not having
we're not talking Dak Prescott.
I'm finally dropping him off of my fantasy league team. I've had Baker Mayfield sitting on my bench for the last 3 weeks, and he's killing me because he's like getting 25, 30 points, and Prescott has been laying eggs, left and right. I mean, not 2 weeks ago, but last week he did.
Ooh, podcast Mini. Last dual threat quarterbacks that worked was Matt Leinart and Kurt Warner. Neither one of these guys reminds me of the other. Is that good or bad?
Mm-hmm.
Wayne, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with him. I wouldn't like the whole dual threat quarterback game plan. Not for this. Not against going up against the Jets. I think at the beginning of the season, I said Justin Fields had a better chance of running off with this starting job just simply because of his youth and the ability he has to make plays with his feet. And that's what he's been doing. And I know Russell Wilson has had a terrific career in the past. And really, I think Russell Wilson got a bad rap last year. He did much better. He did much better last year than he did the year before. This was just a Sean Payton move, wanting to get him off the Denver Broncos. But yeah, they got to go Justin Fields while he's still hot. And what a demoralizing thing for Justin Fields to finally have something on and then just to again for no reason whatsoever other than to start a guy of yesterday. So keep going with Justin Fields.
Wayne would say keep going with Justin Fields. John, you look like you're agreeing with that.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yep. Everything you said, I agree. Even though, you root for the wrong team. No, I do. And for the same reasons that you mentioned, I just, I think you're right. I mean, Russell Wilson had a decent season a year ago. I think right now, but they're 4-2, they're winning. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the Brian Hoyer situation back in the day with Johnny Manziel when the Browns were very successful. They were 7-3, 7-4 when they decided to make the switch to Johnny. And it completely backfired. And, because Johnny wasn't practicing football, he wasn't reading his playbook. He was in Vegas every night. So, this is a head scratcher for me. Mike Tomlin doesn't come across like a guy that would make this kind of move. That's why I seriously think that maybe he and Stefanski called each other up on the phone and let's say, hey, let's just act completely off kilter and not be who we really should be. And okay.
Well, that is a phone call I would have loved to have bugged on and, heard the conversation between Tomlin and Stefanski.
I mean, how long has Tomlin been there? How many years now?
He's the longest
18, 19 years?
He's the longest tenured at 18.
18, yeah.
He's the longest tenured, which makes this shocking, Wayne, of, making this quarterback move. It feels like if there's any coach you didn't think would make that move, Wayne, it would be Tomlin.
Yeah. The only thing I could think of is maybe just making Russell Wilson feel good because he was supposed to be the guy to start in the beginning. I don't know, but I don't.
Bring him to Cleveland. Bring him to trade. If you want to trade, bring him here to Cleveland. We'll swap you.
Like I said, the game plan does favor sitting the rushing quarterback. Maybe that's what they're thinking, but who knows? We'll see.
Who knows? We'll see. And I'm sure you guys can keep hearing Wayne with his fantasy football advice on Sideline Savants, John with his Giant Cleveland podcast, his work with Fanatical Elves. Before we get into our top quarter rankings to end today's show, kind of put in reverse because of the breaking news, I'll let them plug anything they would like. John, I'll let you go first, my friend.
Thank you for having me on. We have our Fanatical Elves network here. If you want to hear some of the on and off topics by Browns fans, that would love for you guys to tune into us. We're on Apple and Spotify, anywhere that you listen to podcasting. The Fanatical Elves network have a great group of guys that do a lot of shows here every week. Looking forward to seeing what happens on Sunday. I'm going to be out of town, so I am really excited to see how this all plays out. We'll see what happens next week. Let me tell you, if they lose to Cincinnati, which I'll almost guarantee it right now, it's going to be because then they got your Ravens. I'll respect you this time, Wayne. They're the Ravens. And then Baltimore's just going to have a heyday coming here in Cleveland. I mean, typically they've done pretty well. Cleveland's gotten a couple games, but I digress. I'm going all over the place. So thanks for having me.
Of course, John. Appreciate you. Have a good one. Wayne, you got Sideline Savants dropping tomorrow at noon. What can the people expect?
Well, let me just say, if there's any time to watch the Fanatical Elves, it is absolutely right now. So tune in to hear what's going on over there for sure. Always a pleasure talking to them. Hey, Sideline Savants, we're going up to mid-season right now. So we're talking about mid-season wins and losses for fantasy football. Also going to have a new segment called Game Ball. We're going to ask some viewers to chime in on the comments and tell us at the end of your matchup on week 6, who got your game ball? Who's the guy that made the difference? So if you guys want to jump in on the comments, let us know who the person is that won you your game, or even if you lost, who the guy that kept you in. Who would you give your game ball to? We'd love to hear about it.
I'm excited to see that. You guys can reach out to them. They have a personal X for Sideline Savants, and Wayne also has his X handle right there on the tagline. So appreciate you. Excited to see what you cook up tomorrow at noon on Sideline Savants. Now, guys, it's that time. It's that time. Guys, I cannot wait any longer. We got the top quarter rankings, NFL Week 6. We're 6 weeks into the season right now, and we usually start our Tuesdays covering these teams from 8 to 1. That wasn't the case today with 2 breaking news. Davante Adams is now a Jet. Amari Cooper is now a Buffalo Bill. Are either of these teams, probably not the Jets, going to land in these top quarter rankings? This is what it looked like last week. Now, if you notice, a lot of those teams won their games this past week, or they were on a bye. So how does this shake up now that we have completed 6 weeks of the top quarter rankings? We had a lot of fluctuation those first 3-4 weeks. I want to see how it simmers down, but we have it coming in at number 8. We keep the Atlanta Falcons at number 8. The Falcons, I almost placed the Buccaneers right here at the 8th spot. The Buccaneers do miss my top quarter rankings. Baker Mayfield, as John from Fanatical Elves Network suggested, Baker's playing some hot ball. Rashad White has been out, but they've relied on Bucky Irvin. Sean Tucker emerged this week out of nowhere. You got Chris Godwin. You got Mike Evans. They came away with a 51-27 victory over the Saints, even though they about gave everything up in the first half. They had a huge lead. The Saints came back, but the Buccaneers responded really well in the second half to pull away with this one. But the Falcons, they beat the Panthers by 18 points. You can only play who's on your schedule. It's a division win. The Falcons are 2-0 on the road, and you just have Kirk Cousins. It feels like the Falcons haven't had a quarterback in quite some time to keep them in games. And now it's Kirk Cousins. Tyler Algier, Bijan Robinson, both producing on the ground. 3 total touchdowns on the ground for these guys. Drake London looks like he's finally emerging. If you have a fantasy football team and you have Drake London, you might want to give that game ball to Wayne Thomas and say that Drake London has earned it for you, because he is honestly having a career year with Kirk Cousins at the helm. So I'm proud of the Atlanta Falcons. And I'd hate to say these words, but I'm almost proud of this team coming in at number 7, the Washington Commanders. They do drop from 6 to 7 this week. I do have to acknowledge that they did lose this past weekend to the Baltimore Ravens, Wayne's team, the Commish. I just don't see a lot of teams beating the Baltimore Ravens just in general, now that they've willed off 4 straight, I believe. But if you look at the eye test and you're seeing the Cowboys struggle, you're seeing the Eagles struggle, you're seeing the Giants be the Giants. Sorry, Jason. I know you're watching. Sorry, buddy. But this Washington Commanders team looks like they're passing the eye test right now. They started 4-1. They lost that opener against the Bucs, willed off 4 straight, and then they lost on the road to a really, really good Baltimore Ravens team, but it was competitive throughout. Jayden Daniels looks very good. 24-35, 269 yards, 2 touchdowns, 22 yards on the ground. He was not the reason the Commanders lost this game. And to be honest, I don't even know if you can pin this on anyone in particular. It just felt like 2 powerhouse teams playing, and the Baltimore Ravens got the better end of the deal, because you're not going to stop a running attack of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry late in the fourth quarter. Washington, probably the best NFC East team right now by record and by their standing in the top quarter rankings. Come in number 6. We have the Detroit Lions. Now, I know I'm about to hear it in the comments, probably from Bully Rye, from Tap Outs and Touchdowns, probably from all the Cowboys haters, that Detroit, they're 4-1. They came off a bye week. They should be so much better than number 6. Lions are good. And while it shouldn't have been a 47-9 loss, it was almost a perfect passer rating, 153.8. The perfect passer rating is 158.3, if I'm not mistaken. 18 of 25, 315 yards, 3 touchdowns for Jared Goff. We knew that the Detroit Lions would be able to run the ball efficiently against the Cowboys. 12 carries, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns for Montgomery. 12 carries, 63 yards for Jahmyr Gibbs. But they just were so much better. And it showed. It showed that they had a vengeance after that 2-point conversion fiasco last year when the Lions lost on that play to the Cowboys with Taylor Decker, the illegal formation. They absolutely just stifled the Cowboys' offense. The defense had no answers. Detroit did this off a bye week. There's no excuse for that, because 47-9, a 38-point win on the road, is very, very respectable. I would not be surprised if the Lions keep moving forward. Unfortunately, Aiden Hutchinson is going to miss pretty much the entire year after breaking his leg. He got put on IR as of an hour ago, by the way. So it looks like Aiden Hutchinson is done for the year. Former number 2 overall pick back in 2022. I hope he makes a full recovery. But Lions have it at 6. They're not the highest NFC North team. I have the Green Bay Packers. Now, as much as I don't want to give the Lions love for beating up on the Cowboys, I will. But as much as I don't want to give Jordan Love his credit and his due, he's playing well. The team is 4-2. They won by 21 points, 34-13 against the Arizona Cardinals. Jordan Love, 22 of 32, 258 yards, 4 touchdowns a pick. Josh Jacobs being effective on the ground, 18 carries, 62 yards. Emmanuel Wilson, a very nice change of pace back, who's been getting more and more carries, 7 carries, 54 yards this past week. You never know who's going to step up offensively. Is it Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Emmanuel Wilson, Dontavian Wicks, Tucker Kraft? The Packers have so many weapons that they can get involved in this offense, but more importantly, their defense is stopping teams. Rams, 24-19. Vikings, they did lose. That was a big loss. The Eagles, they did lose week 1. That was a big loss. Beating the Colts, beating the Titans, beating the Rams, beating the Cardinals, all decisively have been great. We'll see what the Packers do this week against the team that's going in number 4. We got the Houston Texans. The Texans and the Packers play this week, 1 o'clock game. I'm super excited about, because one of these teams is probably moving up or staying in place. The other team's probably moving down. whoever loses this game. It's going to be quite the adventure. The Houston Texans just taking care of business. Had Drake May, honestly, a toss, like an easy tossing game for the Texans on the road. Still beat the Patriots 41-21. CJ Stroud, 20 of 31, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. Joe Mixon in his return was the most impressive. 2 total touchdowns for the guy, 13 carries, 102 yards, 2 catches, 30 yards on the air. They handled Drake May pretty efficiently. It was not the right move for the Patriots to try to start rookie Drake May over the Houston Texans. They took care of business, winning 41-21, staying in at number 3. Now at number 3, I have a team falling in these top quarter rankings. It's the Minnesota Vikings. Now, you may be asking me, there are 2 undefeated teams in the NFL, the Chiefs and the Vikings. Why do you have the Vikings falling on their bye week? They have impressive victories over the 49ers, the Texans, the Packers. They beat the Jets last week. They beat the Giants week 1 decisively. They have the Lions this week, so we get not only Packers, Texans, we get the Vikings, Lions. It almost looks like a playoff bracket. The 4 seed playing the 5 seed, the 3 seed playing the 6 seed. But it's not a slight on Minnesota. They've won all their games. Beating Detroit could come in handy in terms of moving up these top quarter rankings. But it's not so much a slight on the Vikings. It's this Baltimore Ravens team is really, really good. Let's be honest here. Dominic, by the way, appreciate you hopping in. He says he will not stand for Drake May slander in here, Michael. I'm just go ahead and telling you, Drake May is Mitch Trubisky. Wait till you want to realize it, Dominic. Wait till you want to acknowledge it. Great name, by the way. Great name. If you're a wrestling fan, you know. But Drake May is basically Mitch Trubisky. He's dropping some bombs. We'll call those Fed bombs. We'll call those Fed bombs right there. But it's true. Wait for another year, and then we'll come back and we'll have this conversation. I might even bring you on Out of Pocket and tell you to your face as well that Drake May and Mitch Trubisky are basically the same person. Neither one of them are putting their team in position like Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry are. Just absolutely brutal. Dominic says, let's go. He's accepting the invite. So a year from now, October 15th, 2025, we'll get the Drake May Mitch Trubisky debate. If you don't want to concede before then I'll let you obviously come on and concede your point and say that I was right. Obviously. The Ravens are good. And this is why I'm really upset the Cowboys didn't inquire about Derrick Henry, because he would have made the difference just like he's making the difference in Baltimore. Ravens beat a good Commanders team, like a good Commanders team. And Lamar, he didn't do that great that week 1 matchup against the Chiefs. They could have beat the Chiefs. They didn't do too well against the Raiders of all teams. But once they beat up the Cowboys and they held off a late 4th quarter comeback, they demolished the Bills. They took care of business against the Bengals, who had their backs against the wall. And then you beat a red-hot Commanders team. Now, they have the Buccaneers, who, honestly, if this was the top 9 NFL teams, the Buccaneers probably land at 9. So not only do we get the 4 and 5, we get the 3 and the 6, we get the 2 and the 9 playing this week. But I don't give the Buccaneers a chance. Let me be honest with you. That is a spoiler, by the way, for these NFL predictions that we'll do later this week. And coming in at number 1, no surprise to literally anyone, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs also on a bye, as were the undefeated Minnesota Vikings. The Chiefs, honestly, they could have lost this week, and I probably still have them at number 1. Let's be real. The Chiefs are the end-all, be-all when it comes to the NFL. But those are my top quarter rankings. Thank you guys for watching Out Pocket today. Thank you for John from Fanatical Elves and Fans First Sports Network. Thank you, Wayne from Sideline Savants. If you want fantasy football advice, this is the last episode of today for Boom Broadcasting. You can go and watch Sideline Savants kicking off Wednesdays at noon talking about the fantasy football because Quick Hits is no longer on Wednesdays. It's actually on Tuesdays and Fridays. Shannon's expanded to 2 days on Boom Broadcasting at 9 a.m. Tuesdays and Fridays. It's available on demand if you guys want to go see it. He also tells you what's happening here in the Western North Carolina region that's impacted some of our content creators. One of those being Carson with the Lombardi Party. Carson's still struggling after the hurricane. He will not have Lombardi Party tomorrow. But what will be happening tomorrow is Dad and the Boys at 3 p.m. Me and my dad had to take a little bit longer to mourn a loss to the Detroit Lions this past Sunday. So we'll be dropping our Dad and the Boys tomorrow at 3 instead. And you're like, wait, 3 p.m. is Drop the Mic. That's my wrestling podcast day. Yes. I actually switched those. And I was like, I want to talk about wrestling more than the Cowboys on Tuesday. So that's why I dropped today. You'll see it in my Marvel hoodie. I cover WWE pay-per-views, AEW pay-per-views. What's the difference? Who's doing it right? Who's doing it wrong? And I tell how both Triple H and Tony Khan can improve moving forward. So as I said today, Quick Hits dropped at 9. Drop the Mic dropped at 3. Those are available on demand. Out Pocket, obviously, if you missed any of this, you can go back and watch it. It'll be available on demand through Boom Broadcasting. Tomorrow, we have Sideline Savants kicking off our day at noon. We have Dad and the Boys dropping at 3 p.m. And we won't have the nightcap. We won't have the Lombardi Party. But Thursday, we'll kick off our day with It Stinks, a TV and movie show review by our own Sean Lucas. It's Sports with Luke, but he takes a little break and talks some TV. If you watched his double-decker last week, he had Chicago, he had Big Brother. He did phenomenal. We also have Dugout Debrief at noon on Thursday before Out of Pocket. We'll be back on Thursday, 5:30 to 6:30 right here on Boom Broadcasting. But for myself, Michael Davis, and John from Fanatical Elves, and Wayne from Sideline Savants, thank you guys so much for watching us today on Out of Pocket. We'll catch you next time here, and whatever you do, I hope you guys stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.
Well, that's it. I really hope you enjoyed it. We had a ball making it. Thank you very much.